Hey guys, it's Hunter. So I'm making this video. I was kind of hesitant to make this video. It's been a while. It's actually been, I think, 6 months since the second lockdown of England. So I was in the UK. Just making it to, for whatever reason, maybe you want to travel to the UK, maybe you want to do this, that. So I'm just making this video. So I traveled about 6 months ago to the UK during a lockdown. I was actually able to get in because despite what the media says, you can get in the UK. Just remember, always text the country's embassy you're going to make sure you can get in. Make sure you email them because that way you have written proof. It's not just a phone call. You have written proof. At the moment, I wouldn't advise going to UK because me personally, I was there for 6 months. So I was there for their second lockdown, their November lockdown, and their December lockdown, if I remember correctly. So I was there for most of their lockdowns. And it was just the way they handled it was ridiculous. And the people would even say the same thing. A majority of the people, because the majority of the people were basically not following the rules as much. They were getting sick of it. With the constant closing and opening, it just wasn't being handled properly. Now, don't get me wrong, their vaccinations rollout and all this stuff it's king, it's nice, but the way their government handled their economy and everything was terrible. Even though I love the UK, it was terrible, absolutely ridiculous. So now I'll throw some pictures in here, show you the time I was here. It definitely, of course, wasn't as crowded as before COVID, but I definitely had a fun time. People were walking around open now during the lockdowns. You weren't allowed to gather and stuff like that. You're essentially just locked in your house besides exercise, grocery shopping, which so for most of the 6 months, probably 4 or 5 of the months out of the 6 months, I was basically locked in a room. Probably about 4, because 2 months were a little free. So, I was kind of fortunate because I didn't go in the city. So it gave me more freedom to just walk around open space, not congested. I could walk outside, exercise. And apparently, I was in Sussex, so apparently most of those people thought the same thing. They were just sick of it. The beaches were always crowded, usually crowded, depending on the weather. So it was interesting because, despite their news, the government was like, oh, compliance and stuff like that. No one was really listening. Me being a foreigner, I did listen because I didn't really want to get deported past my date that I had to leave. Before my date, I had to leave. So, I stuck to the rules. But, yeah, it was interesting. I was able to travel a little bit when it was open. Going to Brighton, yeah, it wasn't as crowded as, Brighton would be. Sorry, my hair's a mess. Yeah, my hair's a mess. I haven't had a barber more than 6 months. So London wasn't as crowded as it would be typically, but all around it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was pretty nice there. The weather was really nice before I left. As usual, leaving the country and entering the country, the British government gave me a really hard time. Hey, sorry about that, guys. Had to do some business. Anyways, where was I? That's right. Yeah, I totally forgot what I was saying. But all around, when it wasn't lockdown, it was great. Some great people. Um, the airports, yes, the airports and stuff. Yeah, they gave me a problem, like usual. Um, from what I heard, I don't know if it's in place or not still, or if it was. If you go there and you don't have a reason, if you're in the UK already, let me specify that. If you're in the UK already, you go into the airport, just going into the airport, you don't have a good reason, you get fined £200. Now, here's the problem I have. I'm not going on a rant about it or anything, but I texted the country I wanted to go to next, leaving the UK. My visa was about almost up. I wanted to leave a week early, so there was no misconception that I wanted to stay longer. Was illegally staying longer. I left early. Did my COVID test, listened to the rules, texted the foreign embassy, so the country I wanted to go to. I'm repeating this again because it's important. So if I wanted to leave, that's my business, not the UK's. I was in my limit. My airline gave me permission. I go there. Keep in mind, this was just before the £200 rule. They didn't want to let me leave. They wouldn't let me leave. So I had a fight with them. And even though I had the printed out copies for the embassy, they tried to make excuses and excuses and excuses why I can't leave. And I just kept debunking their excuses. I was like, well, we don't see a signature of the name on this email. I was like, when I first emailed them, yeah, there was a signature and there was my name. Now, as the conversations went down, why do they need to say sincerely every time? Even though I was texting the same, emailing the same guy. Or this one was not signed to Mr. Davis, even though the first part was signed to Mr. Davis. I was like, all right, cut the BS, you know. Then was the COVID test. They're like, oh, it's not in 48 hours. But I was like, hold up, just took it yesterday. How's it not under 48 hours? Or today be the night before yesterday. Not yesterday, but on that day. I was like, hold up, how's it not before 48 hours? And even still, cool. The country I wanted to go to was only a 4-hour trip. And I didn't really have I didn't have a layover at all. Like, I did have a layover, but like, I had to run to my plane. Physically sprint. So there wasn't much of a layover. So they're like, oh, you know, yada yada, this, that, this, oh, this BS. And I was like, all right, cut the shit. You know, cut the crap. And they finally called the embassy I wanted to go to. The embassy said, what are you doing? And yeah, we said we let them in. Matter of fact, we stayed in. They're like, oh, you know, and they even admitted, cause you know it's a pandemic. I get that. They admitted that they don't know the rules fully still. No one knows the rules fully still, especially in the UK. That goes for the US too. It's a very confusing time, because the countries aren't talking to each other. Rules are changing every second. Now, this was a while back ago, month almost. So the information I'm giving you, one is strictly for the UK, because the UK is probably the hardest country to get into in Europe, even though they don't consider themselves Europe. Well, part of the European Union, but still. Well, and they're not. Well, I'm not gonna get into that. But still, it was a hassle. So make sure you got your documents and stuff if you wanted to go to UK. I text the embassy. I don't know the information now. It's changed, because when I came there, it was a while back, way before. So remember, email the embassy. Make sure make sure that you are allowed in, and can't say I didn't warn you. Okay, but anyways, I got to leave the country. That was probably my biggest hassle. I got to leave the country, and they did grab some extra money from me. They did want me to take an extra test, which was pretty funny considering I had to go through Germany. They wanted to take the 90-minute test. Make me take the 90-minute test at the airport of England. Only I found out that my PCR test was good enough. They just wanted to grab more of their money, more of my money, because they're in the economy's failing or whatever. Even though the NHS was doing a really good job for what they had, not taking away anything from them. But yeah, so I got out. This part of the story, I'm just showing you examples of what you might have to face if you want to travel to the UK. And also, that it is possible to travel even during a pandemic. Now, I was in the midst of a pandemic, like when you knew less about it and when traveling was almost non-existent, and I was able to travel. Majority of this pandemic, I have not been in my origin of my country, and legally been able to travel. And I did have to follow the rules, of course, quarantine. Like in the UK, I wouldn't advise going to there unless you're going to spend a lot of money and might have to be in a fourth or fifth lockdown, I think fourth, and have them control you and stuff like that. I wouldn't really advise until England gets their stuff act together. That being said, it's still a beautiful country. I still love the country. People are great. But it's just, it's a little silliness over there at the moment. The fact that they're pushing, and they're doing, where they'll take you directly from the airport, hold your hand, to the, my bad guys, to the hotel room where 14-day quarantine. And I believe what was the package there? Their cheap package. I mean, their great deal package. What was it? 2,500 pounds, 3,500 pounds, or euros? I'll comment how much it was, because I know the package is this one my friends paid for, and I was like, you're ridiculous. Now, the rules might change a little bit. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been there, and they've been changing the rules a lot. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Hey, but that was the reality of the situation where I was at, and I, just wanted to get out of the country, but I couldn't really. I was stuck and stuff like that. So that's what you have to face when you're there. And you gotta make the decision if you want to go or not to there, because probably one of the more stricter countries. Now that they're talking about vaccine passports and stuff like that, and you gotta take a vaccine. But those are, rumors that might not become a reality. But the way they're being run right now, I wouldn't be shocked if it happens. At the moment, speculation. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys make a decision if you want to travel, but be responsible, of course. Don't say I didn't tell you. Stay tuned for more videos. Please subscribe and comment below. I'll be happy to hear from you. Tell me what else you guys want to know. I've been here in Europe for a while, so please, anything else you guys want to know, share with me. All right, bye.